What games did you play as a child?
We played hopscotch and hide and seek.
How did you entertain yourself without TV?
We read books and told stories.
Where did you spend your weekends?
We often visited parks and friends' houses.
When did you first see a television?
I saw my first TV in the 1950s.
Who was your favorite movie star growing up?
I loved watching Audrey Hepburn movies.
Which books did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed reading mystery and adventure novels.
Why didn't you use mobile phones back then?
Mobile phones didn't exist in my childhood.
How did you communicate with friends?
We wrote letters or talked in person.
What did you do for entertainment at home?
We played board games and sang songs.
When did you start using a computer?
I started using a computer in the 1990s.
Where did you go to school?
I went to a small local school.
Who were your closest friends in school?
My closest friends were Alice and Mary.
How did you travel to school?
I walked or took the school bus.
What was your favorite subject in school?
I loved studying history the most.
When did you first meet Grandpa?
I met your grandpa in high school.
Who proposed first, you or Grandpa?
Your grandpa proposed to me first.
Was it a love marriage or arranged?
It was a love marriage, very romantic.
How did Grandpa propose to you?
He proposed with a simple heartfelt letter.
What did you do on your first date?
We went to a local diner for burgers.
Where did you go on your honeymoon?
We honeymooned in the mountains of Colorado.
What was your favorite hobby as a child?
I loved knitting and sewing clothes.
How did you celebrate your birthdays?
We had family gatherings with cake and music.
When did you first learn to cook?
I learned to cook at the age of 10.
What dishes did you enjoy cooking?
I loved making pies and homemade bread.
Who taught you how to cook?
My mother taught me all the basics.
Where did you go for family vacations?
We visited beaches and national parks.
What toys did you play with?
We played with dolls and wooden blocks.
How did you celebrate holidays like Christmas?
We decorated the house and exchanged gifts.
What did you do during summer vacations?
We spent time outdoors, swimming and hiking.
Who was your role model growing up?
My role model was my grandmother.
Why was she your role model?
She was kind, strong, and very wise.
How did you keep in touch with relatives?
We wrote letters and made occasional calls.
What was your favorite season and why?
I loved spring because of the blooming flowers.
When did you start working?
I started working right after high school.
Where did you work first?
My first job was at a local bakery.
What did you enjoy about that job?
I enjoyed baking bread and meeting customers.
Who inspired you to pursue your career?
My father inspired me with his hard work.
How did you spend your weekends as a teenager?
We went to movies and had picnics.
What kind of music did you listen to?
I listened to rock and roll and jazz.
When did you first attend a concert?
I attended my first concert in the 1960s.
Who was your favorite singer or band?
I loved the Beatles and Elvis Presley.
Where did you hang out with friends?
We hung out at diners and soda shops.
How did you celebrate high school graduation?
We had a big party with family and friends.
What sports did you play or watch?
I enjoyed playing tennis and watching baseball.
Who was your favorite athlete?
I admired tennis player Billie Jean King.
How did you dress when you were young?
We wore dresses and skirts most of the time.
When did you first wear jeans?
I first wore jeans in my teenage years.
What were popular fashion trends back then?
Poodle skirts and saddle shoes were popular.
How did you learn new skills or hobbies?
We learned from books and community classes.
What was your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite memory was family camping trips.
How did you spend rainy days?
We stayed indoors, reading or playing games.
Where did you go to buy groceries?
We shopped at small local markets.
What were your favorite foods as a child?
I loved homemade pies and fried chicken.
Who did most of the cooking at home?
My mother did most of the cooking.
How did you celebrate New Year's Eve?
We had family dinners and stayed up late.
What was the most challenging part of school?
Math was always the hardest subject for me.
How did you spend time with your siblings?
We played outside and did chores together.
When did you first learn to drive?
I learned to drive when I was 16.
What was your first car?
My first car was a blue Ford sedan.
How did you celebrate your wedding?
We had a small ceremony with close family.
What was your wedding dress like?
My dress was white with lace and pearls.
Who attended your wedding?
Close family and a few dear friends attended.
How did you decorate your first home?
We used simple furniture and floral curtains.
What was your favorite holiday tradition?
Decorating the Christmas tree was my favorite.
When did you start your own family?
We started our family a few years after marriage.
How did you manage work and family?
It was challenging, but we supported each other.
Where did you celebrate your anniversaries?
We usually celebrated at a nice restaurant.
What advice would you give to young people?
Work hard, be kind, and cherish your loved ones.
How did you handle difficult times?
We stayed strong and relied on family support.
Who influenced your life the most?
My parents and grandparents influenced me deeply.
What was the biggest lesson you learned?
The importance of honesty and hard work.
How did you stay healthy and active?
We ate well and walked everywhere.
When did you retire from work?
I retired in my early 60s.
What hobbies did you pick up after retirement?
I started gardening and painting.
How did you keep in touch with old friends?
We called each other and met occasionally.
What was the most exciting event in your life?
The birth of my children was the most exciting.
How did you spend your free time after retirement?
I traveled and spent time with grandchildren.
When did you first travel abroad?
I traveled abroad for the first time in my 50s.
What countries did you visit?
I visited Europe, especially France and Italy.
How did you learn about other cultures?
Through travel, books, and meeting new people.
What advice would you give about life?
Always be open to learning and growing.
Thank you, Grandma, for sharing your stories.
You're welcome, dear. It was my pleasure.
Bye, Grandma. See you again soon.
Bye, sweetheart. See you again. Take care.